discussion of this for this hour. And like I mentioned earlier, traders decrying losses following the 3-month ban on logging. So we want to have a conversation with Wamugunda Geteria Wamugunda. He is a forestry consultant and he's also an environmental lawyer. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thanks, Betty.
All right, so I want us to start first just by hearing your take on this 3-month ban.
As you have heard, Betty, from the people in Nyeri,
Right.
there's already a crisis. It's not just in Nyeri, it's all over.
Right.
To me, it's something misplaced. It shouldn't have been done. It's wrong. It even tends to be an illegality. How you would stop
Right.
me felling my tree. My mother has to suffer to get her firewood. People have to suffer to buy their charcoal, and they can't afford.
Right.
And there's them who use charcoal, not us. I'm told charcoal now is selling at 2,500 shillings a bag. The small little mikebes that Wajiko used
Yes.
has already gone 350.
Right.
And it's not
Right.
available.
Right.
People are not cooking their githeri. Timber itself has already shot up twice. To me, it's, to say the least, ridiculous.
Ridiculous and misplaced. That's what you're saying. But of course, there's that parallel conversation of trying to save our forests. Is this the way to go, really, with regard to saving our water catchment areas, our water towers, through this through this ban? Because that's a separate conversation.
Unfortunately, we don't save forests by banning, by saying don't touch forests.
Right.
In fact, we accelerate the problem. That is the time we invite clandestine felling. The moment you tell people, do not cut, and we've been here before, that is the time you invite chaos, the chaos you are seeing now. Police cannot allow people to pass with their lorries
Yes.
of timber. You have had the Nyeri chaos.
Yes.
People are losing money. People are being unemployed. We've been on this path before. In 1986, there was banning of indigenous trees felling in Kenya. We came in 1999. We also did this ban. It's only in 2004 when the new government of NAC came in. We retraced our steps and said, no, these bans are not tenable.
Right.
It's never done. It's done. I've never heard even of any part in the world that does this type of things. Not our neighbors, not our industrialized countries of Finland, Canada, America, where you tell people, shut your
Yes.
mills.
Yes. Yes.
Stop cooking food with firewood.
Right.
Stop burning your charcoal without alternatives. It's not right, and
It's
it's
not
wrong.
right. So you think that it was not well thought out? Because, just reading a few articles and researching about it, the people who feel that this maybe was, public relations and trying to save face, with this bigger conversation to do with, conservation of forests. So as a forestry consultant, what should be the best way to do this? Is there, a way that, you will still have the logging, going on, but of course, on the other hand, we're, increasing our forest cover.
Exactly. All foresters all over the world, and I've been a forester in Kenya for 40 years, their cardinal principle is sustained forest management. I can bet that they have not stopped using that Hippocratic oath that they are doing sustained forestry management. The little things that are being said about that there's felling, there's overfelling,
Yes.
it's not correct. I'm not in the service now, but I'm following all that happens. All that people have seen is timber extraction in a few areas, plantation forests. And this timber is required by the market. This talk about overcutting, I personally don't know where it's happening. I understand that what happened was clear fells seen, particularly in Kebiko here,
Yes.
in Kajiado. There is a forest of eucalyptus trees that was being felled for firewood. And that is normal for eucalyptus plantations. That is the normal way. You fell them when they're old enough, then you don't necessarily replant. What you do after felling, within 3 weeks, I can bet you, I can take you now to Kebiko. They've already shot up. Within a month, they'll be taller than you, Betty. And this happens for eucalyptus year after year.
Okay.
In India, we know they copies for 100 years. In Australia, where they came from, the same. Eucalyptus is the best tree that was done. On these other trees we are talking about, cypresses and pines and radiata. These are feeding your mills. They are feeding your sawmills. They are feeding your paper. They are feeding your children with jobs. And the crisis happening in Nyeri and all that stuff being seen there is just pockets of what must be done.
Right.
Admittedly, there will be a few people inside there and there doing a little bit of illegality, just as much as anywhere else there will be illegality. But we cannot condemn a wholesale, a profession that's doing its job. I don't think this thing was done rightly. And if I were whoever said this ban, I would be man enough to say, stop it. Stop it.
So what would be
Our people are suffering.
Right. So what then would have been the best way, to go about it? And what really do you think, was the thinking behind this ban? Why 90 days?
This was a knee-jerk. This was a knee-jerk reaction. People said, oh, it is drought. The drought, like the blind men of Istanbul said, oh, the drought has come from logging. The drought has come because of trees falling. And 2 weeks after that, all these rains going on here. Bessie, I'd like you to tell me where they came from. Honestly, I'd like you to tell me, where did the rains come from? All that falling. This rain should all be packed. And we use it for the next 5 years. We stop, I'm sorry to call it nonsense, of saying that trees failing has caused drought. Droughts will come all the time. It is what we do with those droughts that matters. Not to whip the forester Betty and say she's the one who is responsible. It is not.
All right.
All I'm saying is the afforestation program is going on. It's going on in people's chambers. It's going on all over. My own mother just talked to me today how she's planting eucalyptus trees in her home in Embu. Today, when I was sitting over there.
Right.
Planting is going on, but it must be planting that is purposeful. Yesterday, there was planting yesterday. The CS was talking about planting. Planting indigenous trees. Which indigenous trees? There are 2,000 trees, species of trees. To say that the indigenous trees are being planted, you must say which trees you are planting and what your methods are for how they will be used, felled, and how they will be tended to grow.
Okay.
But just to plant 1 million
it doesn't work like that.
That's not the issue.
All right.
Do it properly, purposefully.
All right.
And allow people to come and fell them when they're mature. Otherwise, they will not plant trees.
Okay.
What do they plant them for?
Thank you very much for your time. We have come to the end of our discussion. Geteria Wamugunda, he is a forestry consultant and environmental lawyer. Interesting insights you have, I must say. Let's see what the end game of this ban really is. We'll get to see. We'll be here to cover that. You
should stop that banning today.
Right. Okay, you've heard it. So we take a short commercial break, but we're coming back to continue on with the show. Remember, we're focusing on a number of top stories, one of which really is the vetting of Kihara Kariuki, probably the incoming Attorney General. And we're also looking at what's happening with the Public Accounts Committee that is currently questioning IBC CEO Ezra Chiloba on issues to do with the electoral body. We'll be going back there in a few moments. Let's take a short commercial break. We'll see you in a few minutes.
This is KTN News.